Hey everyone, it's Jen Fontanella, your money coach, and I'm committed to helping women entering the entrepreneurial space take control of their finances so that they gain clarity, hope, and confidence so that they can live out their true passion and purpose in their life. And so today I just wanted to share something interesting. I have an 8.5-year-old son, for some of you that may not know, and he is obsessed with this one video game called Roblox. And this was the game he transitioned to after Minecraft. He's not into Fortnite, but there's this game called Roblox. And so the thing that was so fascinating to me is because, well, in the game, let me give you some context. So in the game, you're allowed to purchase Robux. So it's like currency in that game environment. And with the Robux, you are able to purchase like skins, whether it's like hair, a weapon, a shirt. I mean, all kinds of. It's all fake. It's all virtual. And so, I was thinking like, okay, I'm obviously with you all know what I do. I'm very mindful of how are we spending this money. I don't even care if it's his. I mean, I want him to understand like we're just not gonna buy whatever the heck we want to buy. And so every month, like he'll go through this. Oh, I made this deal with him. I said, okay, once a month you can get, what is it, 400 Robux, and then it was like I forgot what it was. It's like a certain dollar amount. It's like under $5, nothing crazy. And so I'm trying to use this as a tool so that he can understand how purchasing and money works and how to budget. So I'm using it I'm using the game as a way to convey these lessons. And so yesterday, he wanted to buy some extra clothes because in the game you have like this avatar and you can dress it with like different hats, different hair, different weapons, different t-shirts, all kinds of stuff. And so obviously it's connected to my card in the iPad and whatnot. And so he'll come to me like, oh, can I get this? And I'm like, well, how much Robux is left, and how much money? And so I have him give me money that he's earned in some form or fashion or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, well, you have to wait for me to, have the money for you to charge it. And so it was, I remember in the side note, I remember this was funny because I think it was about a year ago. I can't remember when he started playing the game, but I realized how funny it was to try to explain, like, you don't put the cash into the device. Like I had to, and I think he was 7 at the time, and I had to explain, like, you have to take the money, you have to go to the bank, you have to deposit the money into the bank, and then the bank puts it into your account, and it's all connected electronically. And it's funny when you think about it because it's not often you have to explain the inner workings and how everything is connected. And I remember just thinking how funny it was, like trying to explain to him, like, no, I don't literally physically put the dollar bills into the iPad. It doesn't work like that. So I remember we went to the bank and I physically showed him, like, okay, look, I'm putting the money that's going to go into the bank account, and now it can transact through a credit card. But I think it's so important, especially if you're a parent, I think it's so important for kids to understand the physical exchange of dollars for goods and services. I'll never forget, like, this one lady came to church and she was explaining something that I never forgot. And she said, do you show your children the exchange of physical dollars when you go to the store? So are you the type that's just constantly swiping a credit card or even a debit card, the fact that it's just plastic? Because what happens is the kid is sitting in the shopping cart, right? And then you go through the cash register and they see you whip out the plastic, swipe it. They think it's like magic. They don't see the exchange of the dollar for the goods and services or the goods that you're purchasing. And I remember that was such a huge thing for me. So it made me very mindful. And then, so there was a time when, he still was little to sit in the shopping cart. I would give him physical bills, have him see the number on the terminal, the cash register thing. And I'm like, okay, what does it say? Okay, give her the amount of dollars that you need to pay for it. So that he had an understanding that this isn't like some magic wand that money just comes out of nowhere, or it's this magic, plastic that just buys everything in the cart. It doesn't, or, I didn't even know if he understood that we're actually purchasing it. But again, the fact that I had to explain the way that this was all connected was so interesting because he's a kid. He didn't understand how it worked. And then for me to explain it, it was weird because it's not something I explain all the time. As talking to adults, you understand how they're connected. But as a child, they don't understand, like, dollars have to go into an account. It's all electronically linked. That's linked to a debit card. The credit card company is a separate party. I mean, think about it. If you had to explain that to like a little child, like, it's like weird. It's interesting. There's so many moving parts. Anyways, going back to the video game. And so I had him go through an exercise. I had him list out, like, okay, because he would tell me, like, oh, I want 1,400, I need 1,600 Robux or something like that. And I'm like, well, what are you buying with it? And I said, look, I need you to understand what are the purchases that you're making. So I had him list it out. I'm like, I want you to list out the items and I want you to list out what it cost. So he did that. And I said, okay, well, how much do you have now in the account? Because he did have some Robux already in there. And so he's like, oh, I have 437. I'm like, okay, if you need 1,600, whatever the amount was, I don't remember, and you already have 437, how do you determine what else do you need? So I had him subtracted, like because he's going through that now in third grade math. I'm like, okay, you need to think about the formula. What is it that you are, how do you determine what you need? And so what was interesting, of course, his math is not going to work out perfectly. And because, for example, I set a limit. I'm like, okay, you can spend $9.99 in here, but it wasn't going to reach the full amount that he needed. And so we had to do some funky math. I'm like, okay, if you need 100 more, but $1 only purchases 80, how much more dollars do you need in order to get to, 100? So obviously we were going to be over by 60 because he needed 100 more from what from the amount that he had after making the initial purchase. And then he had to make 2 more transactions. I was going to buy 80 Robux. So obviously if he's going to spend, 100, there's going to be some left over. Anyways, point is, I was like, this is kind of cool. I was like, this is how you can teach children how to budget, because I was like, okay, I'm not just going to give you the money. I want you to work for it. I need you to understand where the money comes from. I want you to understand that you need to carefully budget this, because there was another thing that he wanted and he wasn't going to have enough. I'm like, you're going to have to wait till next month. You're not going to just get it. You're going to have to wait till next month until you can get enough. And so you have to wait. So because my big concern is like, and he's not bad with it, but my big concern is like, I don't want you to grow up thinking like you can just get whatever you want whenever. And so you have to wait for it. So it's almost like, I had to tie in the analogy. It's like when you go to work and you don't get your next, paycheck or what, you don't get paid yet. You have to wait because you just don't have enough. Or what he did was he's like, okay, well, I don't want that thing anymore. I'm going to get something else. So I had him go back to the list and I had him like, okay, well then cross those things out and reevaluate what are the purchases. And I said, you know what? In real life, this is how it goes. You have to itemize and think about what it is you have, how much can you afford, how much do you need to wait, what do you need to do in order to get more, or do you need to wait the next month until more money comes in or whatnot. So anyways, I just wanted to share that because I think if, you have kids or, young ones in your life, like what are the different things that are, within your lives or something that they're involved with that they can do to teach them these money lessons. And so I thought it was really interesting that he's been all up in this video game. And so I was able to take this, purchasing exercise through the purchase of all these things inside the video game and make it a learning lesson when it came to money. So if you have kids in your life in some form of, or some kind of capacity, find different opportunities to teach these lessons because they're so valuable. And I think it's so much more relevant. And the earlier that you can do this, the better that you'll help set them up for having great, healthy relationships with money, and as well as having a good money mindset and understanding that, I'm not going to get everything right away. I'm not going to fall prey to, immediate gratification that I have to wait, or I'm going to have to figure out a way how to create more money if I can't wait. But so you understand what I'm saying. So with that said, find opportunities to teach these valuable lessons to your kids. So thanks for letting me share. If you like this, make sure you like or comment. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to chat with you or have a discussion about anything that I can help or support you with. All right, until next time, thank you and take care.